For a long time now, we've treated cybersecurity like it's purely a technology problem, something we hand off to the technical experts. But that model? It just isn't working anymore. The reality we face today demands that we completely reframe how we think about digital risk and who is truly accountable for it.
So let's start with a single number that should reset our entire perspective on this: 95%. This one figure really frames the entire conversation we need to be having right now.
You see, 95% of incidents, they're not happening because a firewall failed or the antivirus software wasn't up to snuff. They're rooted in human behavior. We're talking about phishing, stolen credentials, simple misconfigurations. This isn't a machine problem. It's a human problem, and it's a business systems problem.
And that forces a really critical question for every board, for every executive team. If the main way in is through our people, is a strategy built on achieving perfect prevention even rational? Or is it maybe time for a more realistic, a more resilient approach to leadership and to risk?
The moment we acknowledge that reality, well, everything changes. It forces an evolution in the CISO's role, shifting their mandate out of the server room and squarely into the boardroom, where the real strategic decisions get made. And you can see this shift in the CISO's own journey. The role started as a purely technical security engineer. Then it became a security manager. But today, a modern CISO has to be a risk owner, a business enabler, and ultimately a digital resilience leader, the person accountable for the organization's ability to thrive even through major disruption.
You know, the most critical skill for any CISO today is translation. They absolutely have to shift the conversation away from technical jargon, things like vulnerabilities and exploits, and start speaking the language of business impact and strategic consequences.
And here's what that translation looks like in practice. A technical finding like exposed credentials, that's pretty abstract. But the business consequence? Compromised customer accounts. That's tangible. A misconfigured cloud service becomes public data exposure. An insecure API leads to disrupted critical operations. Now that is the language of executive leadership.
This completely reframes the CISO's function. They're no longer a blocker, they're a strategic advisor on risk. The thing is, security isn't an absolute. It's a series of business trade-offs. Sure, rapid AI integration might give you market leadership, but it comes with the risk of data exposure. Aggressive M&A can fuel faster growth, but it means you're inheriting a whole set of unknown vulnerabilities. The CISO's job is to make those trade-offs crystal clear.
Which brings us to a really crucial distinction that so many organizations get wrong, and that's the difference between authority and accountability. It isn't about managing a department, it's about owning an outcome. At the end of the day, titles are irrelevant. Call the role CISO, head of security, risk officer. It doesn't matter. The function of owning digital business risk exists. Someone has to be accountable for it, and that's true no matter where they sit on the org chart. So when we talk about executive accountability, what we mean is owning the business outcomes of digital risk. If customer data is compromised or operations grind to a halt, the accountable executive owns that business failure, not just the technical mistake that caused it. This is a leadership responsibility, period.
So the modern CISO's mandate really boils down to 4 core business functions. First, protect the company's existing value and its reputation. Second, enable business growth and innovation by advising on risk, not just blocking new ideas. Third, reduce operational uncertainty. And finally, and this is the most important one, they have to support informed executive decision-making, with clarity, not with complexity.
All of this leads to what is probably the single most important paradigm shift for leaders today. If we accept that perfect prevention is impossible, then our entire strategy has to pivot from prevention to readiness.
This right here is the essential truth for every leader. Incidents are a matter of when, not if. So the true measure of leadership and of your CISO's effectiveness isn't about preventing every single failure. It's about your readiness to respond, to recover, and to maintain trust when an incident inevitably happens.
So what is leadership's role in this? Well, it comes down to 3 things. First, you have to reframe the CISO role. See them as a business peer, not just a technical manager. Second, elevate the conversation. The dialogue needs to be about strategic risk and trade-offs, not just technical controls. And finally, and this is absolutely critical, you have to build trust and clear decision-making pathways before a crisis hits. Trust is built in peacetime, not in the heat of the moment. So I'll leave you with a critical question to consider within your own organization. Is your top security person empowered simply to manage security, or are they empowered to lead the business through digital risk?
The answer to that question is going to define your resilience for years to come.